Hello everyone, I hope that you all are fine and you might have watched my previous video where we have we have studied one of the very important chapter of class 10, that is federalism. And that previous video we try to understand that what is federalism, what are the different features, what are the different roots of federalism. So in this video today we are going to understand that what makes India a federal country. Do you know, soon after the independence, the Constitution of India declared it as a union of state. It did not use the word federalism. The Indian Union is based on the principles of federalism. So what it is, we cannot call it as a complete federal structure. The India, which is declared as a union of state by the Constitution, is applying certain principles of federalism, right? So in this particular segment, what we are going to understand is what makes India a federal state, yes or no, or federal country. So do you remember about the features of federalism we have discussed in the previous video? That were the existence of dual form of government, the provisions of fundamental right which central and the state jointly give their approvals, yes or no, the power of judiciary to interpret the constitution, yes or no. So these were certain features we have discussed in the previous video. So if you see all those features of federalism, you find that India too applies, and that makes India what? A federal state. But beside these features, one very special characters of India federalism is what we are going to see. That you see, the Constitution provided a third-fold distribution of power to legislate or administrate between the center and the state. It means how center will administrate, what are the powers of the center, what are the power of the state. So in whole that aspect, the Constitution has given it a separate power. Now let us try to understand these important features that makes India as what? A federal country. Beside all those features which are being practiced in our country, these are the union list, okay, these are the state list, and these are the concurrent list. Now let us try to understand what is this union list. When we talk about this union list, these are those subjects which is of 97 in numbers, in which the central government has given the power and right to make laws for the entire nation. Clear? Very specifically, the Constitution has prescribed within this 97 subject, only the central government, or also called as a union government, has the power to make laws. And which areas comes in these 97 subjects? Like defense, foreign affairs, banking, communications, currency, etc. These are the different affairs comes in this 97 subject, and in this affair, who makes laws? The central government make laws. This what makes India a federal country. Another, you see, this is a state list. Now in state list, which includes 66 subjects, where only state government has a power and the right to make laws. No other institutions or the government is allowed to interfere in this affair. And state government make laws in these particular subjects. And what are these areas which comes in these subjects? Like police, trade and commerce, agriculture, and irrigations. These are the different arenas in which the state government make laws in 66 subjects. Clear? Third one is the concurrent list, which consists of 47 subjects, Okay. In the concurrent list, both the center and the state government, they make laws jointly, they make laws together. And what are the areas comes here? Here comes education, right? Here comes the forest. Here comes the weight and measures. Here comes the protection of wildlife, which includes the reserve forest, which includes the animals, which includes the birds, whatever. No, all this, where both the center and the state government, they make laws together. But one notable thing with the concurrent list is what? If any kind of conflict arises between the center and the state, often it seems that center is always overpowering the state. So this is how all these features make India a federal country. I am just going to tell you one more thing. Do you know there are certain other areas which do not come in any of this list? You may be aware about today computers, yes or no? Computers. Today you may be aware about the softwares, correct? Softwares. You may be aware about the e-companies or e-commerce, right? Right? Do you know all this aspect? Okay? And all this aspect which don't comes in any of this list, they are classed or categorized in one list which is called as what? Residuary list. And in residuary list, the Constitution of India has asked central government to make laws. So what I mean to tell you, or what I am going to tell you, is that beside that the separations of power among the union list, state list and concurrent list, there is a residual list which enhances the computers and the softwares and e-commerce, like that. So many e-companies are there. No, they are running the business. You may be ordering so many things in online. So all this affair are classed or categorized in the residual list, and these are looked after by the union government as suggested by the Constitution. So this whole things makes India what? A federal country. If it is so, then let us see how federalism practiced in our country. That's how that all features makes India a federal state. Then let us try to understand how federalism practiced in India. It is said that the real source of federalism in India can be attributed in the nature of democratic politics of the country. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity and desires for living together become a shared ideal of in any country. So, any country which respects its shared culture, value its diversity in its politics, that makes what? The federalism of the very spirit of federalism successful or alive. Then let us try to understand how federalism practiced in our country, that is India. If you see the emergence of all the states in India, they are based on the linguistic ideas. So Indian states are basically called as linguistic state. Now what is linguistic state? The emergence of the state based on the idea of language the people speak on that particular state, or to recognize the differences based on the cultural traditions, ethnicity and the geography. So what is the reasons for emerging Indian state based on the linguistic idea is that. So in India, the people speak so many languages and the dialects, no, and they have their own identity or different identity based on their cultural practices, the tradition practices, the ethnicity and the geography or the topography, their lifestyle. So to preserve all that and respecting all that, when the country started to administrate, that's why this is not segregated or separated from the politics in our country, and that is how the federalism practiced in India. Second is language policy. If you see, whatever the language people speak in our country, or whatever the dialect they speak in our country, all the dialects, all the languages people speak in our country are given equal respect. They are given equal value. People are free, they are independent to share their opinion on any dialect or the languages in which they feel comfortable. You see the question paper which you find in your examinations, these are just comprises of both Hindi and English. If you go to some state, they use their mother tongue. You go to the state of any other like Assam, you will find that the questions paper comes both in Assamese and English. So this is how in our country every language people speak, every dialect they speak, they are given equal respect and value. This is how the federalism practice. Finally, the center-state relation. If you see the separations of power, the distribution of the power, center enjoy 97 subjects in which they make laws, and state exercise or enjoy only 66 subjects in which they make laws. Somewhere it seems as from the point of distributions of the subject to make laws, it seems center as more powerful. It seems, but it means not like that. If states have state political parties or state affairs or state issues are neglected. Why? At the central level, when the government is formed for the national level, what we see both the center and the state political parties, they play equal role. They are equally given importance. You see, often it seems that when any nationalist political parties, they fail to gain the required number of votes to form the government, in such cases what happened, they seek the support from the regional political parties and they form the government at the national level. So this is the beautiful relation of center and the state, and where we can find that every political party is functioning in the different state, and the nationalized political parties which are functioning in the entire state, it seems they are equally powerful. No one get ignored. So this is how in India the federalism is practiced. First is what? The emergence of all the state based on the linguistic ideas. No, where what people, what language they speak, what kind of culture they follow, what kind of ethnicity they have, what kind of geography they live in. It respect all this aspect in its political affair. That makes India a federal state. Another language policy, you see, all the languages are given equal respect, all the dialects are given equal respect, and finally a beautiful relation of center and the state. So this is how the federalism practice in India. So this is the more important aspect. When the politics, that's why here it is written, you see, the real source of federalism in India can be decorated to the nature of democratic politics in our country. Why? This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity and desires for living together became the sheer ideal of our country. So this is how federalism practiced in our country, and that makes a very different kind of federations in compared to the rest part of the countries where the federalism is practiced. So this is the second portion of the chapter, and we are going to conclude the whole chapter in the next video. Thank you very much.